The scene then returns to Gaston and Chip in the kitchen cooking eggs. Gaston is finishing up showing Chip how to make the eggs, while Belle is making herself a sandwich. Side note, I don't know why I chose deviled eggs. They're not easy to make. I've never made deviled eggs, and I heard they're tough, so maybe I should have had him teach scrambled eggs, but I don't know. The chef, who was the oven originally, in the original movie, enters and exclaims, "My lady! I would have been happy to make you something to eat. Waitstaff, cooks, to the kitchen, please." A crowd of servants enter the kitchen. He then puts his attention on Gaston. "And what are you doing here, monsieur? This is my kitchen. I shall not allow you to contaminate my domain." Chip then pops a deviled egg into the chef's mouth as he's complaining, like, and just, whoop. "Oh mon Dieu! So savory! The texture is magnifique! Mwah! I must know how to make this. We must make this for the evening's appetizers." Belle laughs, and Gaston notices. He then takes charge and starts showing the cooking staff how to make deviled eggs in song. As the song ends, Belle secrets away a deviled egg and leaves to finish her lunch in private. Just as she leaves, Adam barges in. "Belle!" he yells. He then sees Gaston and the staff happily cooking food. He sees all the food being wasted and starts yelling at Gaston for wasting food. "And what right do you have coming into my home and eating my food and directing my staff?" The staff try to object, but Adam won't listen to them. He gets up in Gaston's face, and Gaston shoves him into a table, knocking over silverware. Adam recovers as Lumiere tries to pick him up. Adam grabs an oven mitt. "Strike me, will you? In my own home?" He marches up to Gaston and he slaps him in the face with the oven mitt. "I challenge you to a duel then." Gaston is flabbergasted. "Fine then, your majesty. You shall have your duel," he replies in a sneer. The scene goes to the courtyard where Adam and Gaston both have pistols. That's right, we're going Barry Lyndon style now.
1, 2, 3.
Lumiere is pleading with Adam to reconsider. Adam refuses, saying he will not allow this insult to go on any longer. He gives his coat to Lumiere, who then hangs it on a, what is it called, like a, what is it, a silent butler? You know, just like one of those, or mannequin, whatever. Gaston gives his coat to Babette. She was the maid that Lumiere was flirting with a lot in the first movie. Like, you never hear her called Babette. Like, she's like, I'm surprised she wasn't called Feather Duster or something. But in the Wikipedia page, her name is apparently Babette. Belle then enters the courtyard, demanding to know what is going on. Adam explains that he wants Gaston to leave. "Leave?" Belle exclaims. "Are you insane? He's still confined to crutches." "Belle!" Gaston calls her. "It is my fault. I struck him. I accept this duel." Adam grabs his pistol as Gaston grabs his. They both take aim at each other on either side of the courtyard. "I may be on crutches, but I can still fire a pistol." "Anyone can fire a pistol," Adam replies. Tension grows as they stare each other down. Cogsworth reluctantly provides directions. "Ready your weapons!" They cock their hammers. "Aim!" Gaston flinches for a moment and tweaks his aim. Right before Cogsworth can say, "Fire!" Maurice can be heard yelling, "Stop!" He flies in with Philippe. Gaston fires his gun. Everyone looks to Adam, but find him unharmed. The shot hit the coat on the mannequin, silent butler, whatever. It pierced the chest to where Adam's heart would be. "Don't shoot! Don't shoot!" Maurice interrupts the duel with news of the coming of King Auroran and a small army. They're looking for the beast! The scene moves to the inside where they discuss what Maurice had seen and heard. As they approach the table, Adam tells Gaston that he ruined his favorite jacket. Gaston replies with a smirk, "Apologies. The old man stole my aim." Maurice then begins explaining who is coming. Adam and the staff are concerned that they will storm the castle. They decide if Gaston were to meet them, they may hold off their attack. Gaston is reluctant to stay. "Why should I help you when you were so eager a moment ago to be rid of me in one way or another?" Maurice then whispers into Belle's ear. Belle looks surprised, then asks Gaston about the flower. Gaston is visibly surprised, but initially denies the existence of a flower. Bête then secretly gives the coat to Lumiere, who produces the flower from a pocket. Voila! He presents the dandelion to the room. Gaston immediately goes for the weed and demands that they return it. He approaches Lumiere, but backs off as soon as he attempts to pull a petal. Fine then, Gaston responds. If you do not harm the weed, I will explain. A flashback is given of LeFou and Gaston as kids in a thunderstorm. There's a knock at the door. Gaston opens it to find an old woman, wet and haggard. Gaston is initially startled. How may I help you? He asks. She explains that it is terribly wet and cold outside and offers a rose for shelter. Gaston looks at the rose and says, Gee, you must not have very much. The rose is not necessary. Please come in and take a seat by the fire. Here, I'll grab a blanket. The old woman steps in, and just as Gaston returns with a blanket, she transforms into a beautiful enchantress. The kids reel back in surprise. The enchantress thanks Gaston and offers him a blessing. She pulls out the rose, and it transforms into a dandelion. She offers it to Gaston. Here, boy, for your generosity and selflessness, I present you this blessing. You will grow strong and beautiful, but as you do so, will this dandelion grow old and gray. If you can learn to love another and be loved in return, the blessing will remain. But if you do not, before the last petal grays and drifts away, the spell will be broken, and you will return to your original self. The flashback ends with Gaston and LeFou looking at the weed, and the enchantress giving him a kiss on the cheek before leaving into the night. I must now make my leave and join my sisters. Good luck, young one. The flashback fades and returns to the present. Adam looks at the dandelion and comments how it is nearly gray, and some petals have already flown away. Lumiere whispers, "The curse! He too is cursed!" Belle takes the dandelion from Lumiere. "No," she says, "he was blessed." She approaches Gaston, but a blessing that I'm sure has felt like a curse. Gaston eyes Belle suspiciously. She offers it back to Gaston. However, as he reaches for it, she pulls back her hand. "Gaston, we can help you, but only if you help us in return." "And how can you help me?" Gaston sneers, but Bête returns with the glass container that held the enchanted rose. "Because," Adam says, taking the container, "a similar spell happened to me." Gaston looks at the flower in surprise, then turns to Belle. "All right," he says and takes back the dandelion. "Tell me everything you know." The scene then goes to King Auroran as his army approaches Castle La Bête. Daguerre gives orders to the men to fan out and take point on the castle gates with their crossbows. The main army then approaches the gates. King Auroran is in the back watching the approach while Daguerre is leading the way. As they go over the drawbridge, the door starts to open. Daguerre raises his hand to the archers. Gaston then reveals himself. An archer gets spooked by a bird and fires a bolt at Gaston. Gaston spots the bolt and knocks it away with one of his crutches. Daguerre shouts, "Cease fire!" Daguerre then tells his footmen to hold position as he approaches Gaston, who continues to walk towards him on his crutches. The two men reach speaking distance. "Is that you, Gaston?" "I should have known it was you, Daguerre. You always like to make an entrance." The two men smile wryly. There is clearly a rivalry between them. "You seem worse for wear," Daguerre sneers, looking Gaston up and down. "I can still manage without an army covering my back, thankfully," Gaston responds. Daguerre scoffs. "I heard you were dead. I heard you were taller. I heard you were dead. Do not believe everything you hear." "Well, rumor has it there's a beast in there, and some very scary furniture. Have you actually defeated the beast, or are you in league with it?" "There was a beast, but no longer." Quit with the riddles and mystery, Gaston. You were never that clever. Now tell me what has happened at this castle, or my men and I will come in and we will find out for ourselves. I would explain it to you, but I'm afraid it's too complicated for the likes of you. Daguerre raises his hand, and the archers ready their crossbows and the footmen prepare to charge. How quickly we drop pleasantries and resort back to our old ways, eh, Gaston? Gaston remains silent as he stares Daguerre down. Fine, then. I will not ask you again, Daguerre threatens. Perhaps not, but maybe he will. Gaston spits and then points behind Daguerre. Hold your positions! King Auroran shouts out. Stand down! He approaches the two men. Daguerre! What is the meaning of this? Who is this man? This is Monsieur Gaston, your grace. Daguerre submits. Is it now? Well, it's good to see you alive. And he recognizes that Gaston is in crutches. And getting better. Thank you, your majesty. I am improving, but my apologies. Your servant has not made full introductions. Daguerre scoffs. This is King Auroran, Daguerre states reluctantly. Ah, I thought so. Gaston takes a bow, as best he can with crutches. I thought I recognized the banners. How may I be of service? I was told by the people in the town nearby that a beast has taken up residence at this castle. There was a beast, but the beast is no longer here. I see. Then who's in charge now? I assume the young prince, Adam, is long dead. Our records show that he was the only surviving son of this royal family. Not dead, Prince Adam exclaims as he emerges from the castle. But not well either. Prince Adam walks forward and bows to King Auroran. Prince Adam, it's good to see you alive. The king smiles and Daguerre reluctantly takes a bow. Perhaps we can go inside where it's warm and discuss your problems in private. The group heads inside and sit down for dinner. Prince Adam explains what happened. He assures him that none of the townsfolk who broke into the castle were killed. We did not mean to harm them. We only defended ourselves. The king asks about Gaston. Reports say he was killed. Adam trips over his words to explain what happened. Belle interjects and says that Gaston fell into the river during the siege. We found him and nursed him back to health. He has been with us ever since, recuperating. The king, satisfied and understanding of what transpired, offers to provide whatever support he can to the castle, but that he must leave the next day. During dinner, the king discusses Adam's financial woes with Adam and Belle, while Daguerre catches up with Gaston. The king declines in offering Prince Adam any money, stating, as a king and as a man, you must earn your fortune just as much as you must earn the respect of your court and love of your future queen. No one owes you anything. Belle interjects, saying there must be something you can suggest, however. We do not intend to survive on charity, but your wise counsel would be appreciated. Surely you can afford us that much as a sign of goodwill between our two kingdoms? Moved by her words, the king ponders for a moment. Meanwhile, Daguerre is speaking with Gaston and tells him that he spoke to his liege and they are able to take him back into town if he wants. Gaston hesitates to accept the offer. Daguerre scoffs and begins to be rude and cocky. He talks down about the state of the castle and then remarks, "You're a master game warden, Gaston. Surely you want to get back as soon as possible. Back to your tavern and your trophies and some decent ale. I know you well enough. You're not really stuck to those crutches, are you? Why would you possibly want to stay here in a castle destined for ruin, run by furniture and led by a boy prince who spent his formative years as a beast?" Before Gaston can answer, the king shouts, "That's it! I have an idea!" He explains that he will set up a friendly competition among the courts in Europe. There will be an entrance fee, of course. We need it large enough to turn heads and to draw in as many courts as possible. Let's say a small fortune. The winner of the competition wins the pot. Adam, my boy, you win that pot, and you'll have your parents' fortune back and then some. We could reopen the mine and keep the staff employed, Adam says, thinking of the possibilities. But what kind of competition would it be? Belle asks. A competition of this size in coin. It would most certainly have to be a sporting competition. Yes, archery, hunting, sword fighting, wrestling. I have no idea what they did at that time. My research only went so far for this time period that it appears to be set in the first movie. So I thought those were kind of, you could picture those happening at that time. Prince Adam sinks in his chair. Not exactly my areas of expertise. Now, my young prince. You were a beast for 10 years. Surely that time has left an impression on you. As a creature of the wild, you do not hunt or run with the wolves. By the description of your townsfolk, you are quite large and powerful. It's nonetheless remained with the withering of your curse. Prince Adam admits that though he is older and stronger than he was before the curse, he knows very little about game or hunting or sport. And as we recall from the first movie, he didn't even know how to eat at a table. Again, Prince Adam is really a kid who's trying to catch up and grow up. Gaston looks at Belle, looking solemn. He looks at Adam and Aurora discussing the matter. He sees the shabby state of the footmen and maids. He sees Chip acting as a servant. And then he sees Daguerre snapping his fingers at Chip while he takes another mug of ale from him and then inspects the cup. Gaston grimaces, then stands up as best he can from the crutches and announces that he will compete as champion for Castle La Bête. Daguerre begins laughing. Adam and Belle are shocked. Aurora looks him up and down and cautions, "Are you sure about this? Your reputation precedes you, but you're still recovering." Recovering is one word for it. Daguerre laughs and goes to take a swig of his ale. Gaston flicks a knife at the table through the handle of the stein, keeping Daguerre from drinking. "A competition like that will take a few weeks to prepare. I will be ready before then," Gaston sneers. "I like your spirit. Then it is settled. I shall make the preparations. We will send word with details." King Aurora then gets up and finishes his drink. "And with that, we must be off. We would stay, but I dare say I would hate to be any further of a burden on you and your staff than necessary." "Are you sure? We can certainly make accommodations," Prince Adam says as he stands up as well. No, it's not necessary, and we still have plenty of light left in the day." His servant puts his coat on him, and they begin heading for the door. He walks behind Daguerre. "Come on, Daguerre. No more sulking. We must be off." Daguerre gets up and follows the king. "Thank you again for your generosity," Belle exclaims when they reach the doorway. Adam voices his gratitude as well. "It's no problem. I recall our families were quite close at one time. I would like it to be so again." The king then turns to go, then turns back. "Oh, and do not forget about the entry fee. It will not be insignificant, but it should be manageable. Farewell." They watch the king and his retinue leave. Prince Adam admits, "I do not know if I should be relieved or even more worried." Belle consoles him, and then Gaston laughs as he walks back inside. However, the moment he is out of sight, Gaston makes a worrisome face as well. Another song begins that talks about facing challenges and taking risks for greater reward. The song ends with Gaston and Adam asking themselves if they can trust each other, and then if they can trust themselves. The film then moves to the townsfolk with LeFou in the tavern sitting by the fire, drinking in Gaston's chair. They hear marching outside and they see the Auroran army leaving. Townsfolk run out to see the passing army. They shout, "What happened? Did you see the beast? Was there a battle?" King Auroran tells the crowd that the beast no longer resides in the castle and that he and his men found no traces of magical furniture. He applauds the townsfolk. "It may have felt like you lost that day, but I assure you that you have won. The former prince has retaken control of the castle. I spoke with him, and we are excited to announce that a tournament will be held to celebrate his return. More news to that will come. That is all I have for now. Take care, and farewell. As they continue to ride off, LeFou sees the silhouette of Daguerre against the setting sun. He mistakes him for Gaston, and he approaches him, but then sees that it is not him. Disappointed, he returns back to this tavern and resumes his seat at Gaston's chair, while the townsfolk around him celebrate their victory and look forward to the coming tournament. Back at the castle, Gaston is visited by Belle while he is in the games room practicing throwing a knife, while clearly contemplating on what just happened. She commends him on his bravery and thanks him for his support. He says it's no problem. That fraud Daguerre has always been a thorn in my side. I will enjoy having a chance to put him in his place. Belle does not respond to his boasting. He begins to start a story about how he bested him one time before Belle interrupts him. Gaston, I do not want you to do this for me. Gaston looks up at Belle and frowns. Though I appreciate your support in this tournament, and I'm very surprised, I cannot let you do this for me. I am with Adam. Gaston thinks to himself for a moment and smirks. Belle, I appreciate you saying so, but as I said, I'm not doing this for you, or for that Adam, or any of the servants. I am doing it for a chance to put Daguerre in his place, nothing more. Belle instantly sees through his lies, but plays dumb to save him his pride. Good, I'm glad. She pauses for a moment. You are nearly healed now, and my father and Philippe have returned. I'm sure you are itching to return back to the town. We would be happy to drive you back. Gaston laughs and says, Thank you, Belle. Though to be frank, I am not sure how much training I will be able to accomplish there. The townsfolk can be a bit overbearing, and I will need to begin training as soon as I am healed. Again, Belle sees through his lies, but plays along, as a trickle of sweat, of nervous sweat, goes down Gaston's temple. Alright, you raise a good point. I will let Adam know. I'm sure it will not be a problem, but on 2 conditions. Gaston raises an eyebrow. You make peace with Adam. You are allies for this tournament, and you must work together. Gaston smirks. Sure. I will play nice with the young prince. It is not me you have to worry about starting a fight. Belle folds her arms and raises her own eyebrow. I'm sure. Leave Adam to me. I will make sure he is peaceful from now on as well. And your second condition? Well, I'm sure you are aware of how dire our money situation is. The family fortune has been all but lost, and we are quickly running out of food and supplies. Gaston smiles again, knowing what she is hinting at. Say no more. As soon as I am able, I will hunt, fish, whatever. I can pull my own weight. Good. Glad that's settled. I will take my leave then. Belle turns to go, but before she leaves the room, she turns back. Gaston? Belle? I may not be able to offer you what you want or need. If this is about the dandelion, I can explain. Gaston interrupts and tries to regain some composure. It's not about the dandelion, Gaston. But we will help you any way we can with that. Gaston stands up straight. I may not be able to offer you what you want or need, but I can offer you friendship. She then leaves before he can respond. A song then begins about friendship. Gaston sings about how he feels he failed the town and feels ashamed to show his face to his friends. The song goes back and forth between Gaston and LeFou and Belle. LeFou sings to himself about how he misses his friend and that friends support each other. Belle sings as she helps the servants with their duties while she is on her way to meet up with Adam, who is playing chess with Cogsworth. She sees Chip go running to Gaston's room with a tray of food and smiles. The song ends with the final message being that friends are like family you choose, and you support each other whether win or lose. Alright, I think we're going to cut it there for today. This video is getting pretty long, and I think this is probably going to be either a 5 or 6 parter at this rate. The whole story is about 28 pages. We're just around 16, so yeah, it's going to be a few parts. But I hope you're enjoying it so far, and I'll have part 4 out as soon as I can get it out for you. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.